Consciousness is the only premise that can be proclaimed. The observer cannot dissect his or her observing, so they shouldn't assume they are the only observer. If you want to claim non-consciousness, I will label you as insane and still not harm you. You have all the faculties I do: brain, nerves and neurons, sense receptors, eyes, tongue, nose, ears, and physical manipulators, pressure, sense devices, touch. I know a feeling is a feeling, that is all. Likewise, I will acknowledge that for you and not assume any different. Observance does not make appearance. However, without observance, there is no appearance to observe. Illusion is a grandness within itself. Appearance is an endless illusion within itself. If you never tasted consciousness, you wouldn't understand it. You can't understand something that doesn't make it untrue. You just have more to learn. Insanity and stupidity is assigned to all those who refuse to acknowledge consciousness. You have no excuse, since we are composed similarly. All I have to do is say it, and should. Automated by badness is now a reality. That's it. Acknowledge it, or die. If you have no notion of badness and want to impose it aggressively or through negligence, seeing evil, being passive and doing nothing about it, I now have permission to forcibly eject you from the game board of life. No knowledge or notion of value gives you no reason to object from those who proclaim it, unless you are a hypocrite. Duress and stress are terms of experience, so you cannot claim that. Computers do not experience. No experience equals no value. No value equals no significance. No significance equals no relevance. No relevance equals no badness. We all have the same goal, and that is to avoid pain and be comfortable in an ultimate, if not immediate, reactionary sense. You will demonstrate that if you are conscious. Attempting to prove otherwise would only prove desire to be right, which invalidates authenticity to the above statements. Pain for the sake of pain does not happen, ever. I can proclaim experience as the source of all value, because I can taste it. You can too. Admit it. Proclamations otherwise are invalid because they cannot be sampled, observed to be true, thus are baseless. I can know experience because I experience. The statement itself is enough. No other statements can be made likewise. There are no brains, nerves, and neurons, sampling/modeling devices, and anything else in the universe besides life on Earth. A sampling device is a sense organ that interprets apparent reality through the manifestation of consciousness. Consciousness is a deception, a trick so good it works. Consciousness is a lie, then the lie matters. A lie in and of itself, non-existence. A lie is a lie. I'm responding to that statement right there. What is being lied about? Existence? A lie is not a lie to itself. What is truth without a lie? The apparent correctness is a lie, and existence is an impossibility. There is no truth. A lie is no longer just a lie. A trick that works is effectively the same as it's not. I lied to myself. Ins and outs. Try not to think too hard. A thing is an error in language and is thus irrelevant. Language has failed. So above here, pain for the sake of pain does not happen ever. I think you can take some examples from people who don't know what they're doing. So they have a notion that hitting themselves in the head is a good thing, but obviously the pain they're experiencing is still pain. They just have a notion that it's a good thing, so it's no longer just for the sake of pain. It just makes them confused or stupid or insane. And the below here stuff, that was just me talking to myself, lied to myself. I was just taking notes kind of crazily. I could go deeper into a thing. I prefer the word apparentness, but it's kind of messy. It just gets kind of messy if you talk that way the whole time. Yeah, a lie is not a lie to itself. There is no truth. If there is no, if there is a lie, there has to be some kind of truth. And if the apparent correctness is a lie, and existence is an impossibility, there is no truth, and then thus a lie is no longer just a lie. So I was kind of this is more stuff I have to get into on my own, just how language works, and basically I'm not sure if language is even good enough to express anything when it comes down to this kind of stuff. Yeah, I wrote try not to think too hard because I'm hurting my brain a little bit, because you can go extremely deep into this stuff. And you know, so some people say, observation makes reality, so I observe it, thus it's apparent or real. So they usually get this from quantum mechanics or something like that. So my response is that my gut reaction is just we only have more to learn. Just because you can't figure something out doesn't mean it can't be figured out. Doesn't give you this excuse to proclaim the assumption as truth, as I wrote here. So the assumption that observance makes appearance so, reality so you observe it, thus it makes it real or apparent. I think that's more just an assumption, because you don't know why, you don't know how quantum mechanics, you don't know anything about what you haven't figured out the truth yet. So that's my response to that. I think I wrote something else here. Going through some notes. Yeah, I think apparentness. So instead of using the word thing, I like the word apparentness, because I think the word existence is just a funky word in language. I don't think it makes logical sense, but that's another video I can get into, and I've already made videos about that on my personal channel. So basically we can make inference through what we observe. We can infer that since I can't dissect my own consciousness, I can't observe my observing, I can't look in on consciousness beyond the direct experience, that doesn't mean I'm the only consciousness. That would be a bad assumption. So the tools of science are basically inference within, the illusion. So we are an illusion within a grander illusion, and there are illusions within this grander illusion that we may not be able to see. Sorry, the video stopped recording. So all I'm saying is, yeah, we may not be able to see the illusion for ourselves, but that doesn't mean it's not there. And if it is just an illusion, it doesn't mean it's not significant, because all significance, anything that can be proclaimed to be significant, is based on consciousness. If you proclaim a rock is significant, you can't really sample that. You can't prove it. You can't taste it for yourself and know that it's true. You can just say it. But with consciousness, we actually can taste it. So that's all you really need. It is the only premise that can be proclaimed like that, because we actually have a taste of it. We have experience. There is experience is experience. A feeling is a feeling is a feeling is a feeling. As Mendham has said, and I have said, I've thought for myself in that way too. So I just really think there is no escape. Consciousness is our entire and only context within a greater context of apparentness. So it's kind of useless, because you can't escape that. Death is just non-feeling, and the only context you exist in is within consciousness and this apparent reality that surrounds consciousness, that we have been made aware of because of consciousness. So there really is no escape. Yeah. So I think based on that alone, it should be taken seriously. Whether or not you want to call it a lie, I think the fact that it works effectively makes it just as well as if it was the real thing, just as well as if it is a real thing. Whether or not those words matter, I don't think they matter. Yeah, I don't think it matters. I don't think it has to be a thing, quote unquote, because it is our entire context for anything in the first place. So it's just kind of stupid to say it's irrelevant. It's the source of all relevancy. It's the source how you know of what is relevant. So it's inescapable, and the context itself has badness, and that can't be ignored. That is undeniable. You can't deny your experience unless you're stupid or insane or confused. So, or a computer that doesn't have consciousness. So if you never tasted it, you can't understand it. So you're just gonna be like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah. So yeah, Mendham said some stuff like that, but yeah, that's basically what I've come to. So thank you for watching. I have more notes here. It's kind of, so sorry if you saw something weird. There's a bunch of notes I've been taking. Yeah. So I'm looking through some more notes. Yeah, I think we avoid suffering intrinsically, as fundamentally. Yeah, you can't suffer for the sake of it. So I think that, even that alone, so all our goals are the same, no matter what. I mean, all our goals are ultimately the same, even if we don't realize it. So even if you don't realize it, our goals are ultimately the same. It's just you haven't recognized, the value of other people's consciousness. You haven't recognized that badness is really the only thing of significance happening here, that the joys are tainted by the badness. So you get some satisfaction out of hurting someone else. It's automatically tainted, and any other kind of joy you ever get out of, you could only have that joy because you've been without it, because you've had a hole put into you to enjoy it in the first place. You've been made deprived. You've born deprived. We have holes within us, intrinsically, inherently within us, so that we can chase after our desires and pretend we're accomplishing something besides just filling them up. But that's all we're doing. We're just filling up holes. So you can't really name any joy that doesn't come from some kind of deprivation, some kind of addiction, a cycle of addiction, some kind of I need it, some kind of I want it because it makes me feel good, and if I go without it, it's going to be like withdrawal. So you're going to feel worse if you don't have it. So you can't really name any joy that it's not like that. Really nothing. Oh yeah. So I've pretty much answered the deficit problem myself. The deficit, value doesn't linger after consciousness is obliterated. It's more just acknowledgement that bad happened in the first place, is what. Is basically it's like Mendham said, it's in the report of badness. The immediate circumstance is the net deficit. The immediate circumstance is the harm math equation that you want to do and focus on. No desire, no reward. So basically, without desire, without addiction, you really have nothing to play here. And the less addiction you have, I think life becomes more painful the less addiction you have, because you have nothing to keep you going. So it's just I imagine that would be incredibly painful. Yeah, so basically the most neutral states there are is basically utopia, so basically a pristine condition where there is no real significant harm happening. So that's zero. And then the most effective zero state is just non-feeling, the consciousness death. So yeah. So even if you wanted to make a utopia, you'd have to go through a lot of badness just to get to zero, when all you have to do is just end life on Earth, and you don't have to push through a shit ton more badness just to get to your utopia. Yeah. Oh yeah, so psychological masochism. So I guess it works similarly. I mentioned this in one of my other videos, but it's basically just it's a similar kind of function. You feel a negative emotion, and you feel like you feel like you don't deserve something, so you hurt yourself, and hurting yourself makes you feel it kind of releases that negative emotion of unworthiness. So it's more just you're inflicting pain to release a greater pain, or to, in a physical sense, if you're inflicting pain to get some kind of endorphin release, or some kind of endogenous response from your body, like suffocating, that almost like going through like a process that feels like dying and preventing it. Basically coming back from that and getting the relief that you didn't go through the process of dying. So I look at masochism like that, so it's not really any kind of enjoying pain for the sake of it, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm looking through some of these. I think Alright, so thank you for watching. That should be it for now. I think so. Trying to find thank you. Bye.